Montreal, but it's just that he lives in a different city and is a good MC, like a really good MC from Montreal. You know what I mean? My Rwanda brother, you know what I mean? So I reached out to him on Twitter. I'm like, yo, bro, yo, let me tell you how this man not only agreed to headline my book launch, he came out with his crew, drove out here from Montreal. Like, I'm reaching out to people locally who all you gotta do is pay a bus pass, so hop in a cab. This Welcome to another episode of Don't Quote Me on the 27th Letter Podcast. My name is Lanre on the Green Bay. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to delve into a little story about why it's important to recognize the difference between celebrated and tolerated. Go where you're celebrated, not just tolerated. So, coming out of prison, as you guys already know, I wrote letters to my daughter while I was incarcerated because I didn't know what the future held. So once a month I would send her a letter. For a period of almost 5 to 6 years, I sent her a letter once a month. And the first letter I wrote her was 2005, December 27, 2005. So I always kept up writing the letter on the 27th. Hence why later on, those letters, I turned them into a book called The 27th Letters. Hope you have your copy. If you don't, 27thletters.com. 27thletters.com. That's where you can get your copy of this book. So before I got the book published, as part of a way to kind of garner attention for the book, I had fundraisers, you know. My first fundraiser, I reached out to a friend of mine to help me with it. And I asked him to book an artist to headline the event. And the first one was Socrates. Socrates is a Canadian hip-hop producer, musician. The man is very talented. He's actually one of my favorite MCs or talent or producers, whatever you want to call it, artists coming out of Toronto or Canada, corporate Canada. So growing up, Socrates was somebody I really enjoyed his music, you know. So got him to headline the event, and in doing that event, it was kind of, how should I say, hustling backwards, because the whole point of having this fundraiser is to raise money, but because I had asked a friend of mine to kind of oversee how these things played out, again, this is me coming out of prison, so I have to reach out to I have to learn the hard way. So, you know, I tried to lean on friends and they kind of let me down, and this first event that we had really didn't garner much money, because I had to pay the headliner, you know, which is something I don't know if there was a miscommunication. I thought we had an understanding where it's like, hey, try to get the headliner for next to nothing, not, you know what I mean? But for the reason that was in negotiation, person did it for a certain price, which, you know, put a dent into the money that was being generated to make the book. The second time, I had three events, 2 fundraisers, and I had a book launch. So the second time, this is where things get tricky, because now I'm more hands-on with it. I've been out a little longer, and I reached out to Raj Fresco as the headliner. So I had Raj Fresco as the headliner. I had a couple other people who were part of the lineup. Of course, the Moors, Canaan Land Moors, you know what I mean, the Moroccan MCs always representing, so they were part of the lineup. But as the headliner, I reached out to this guy named Raj Fresco. who, young MC, and a young MC from the city of Toronto, and I just really started getting into his music. I started learning about him, but I felt like what he stood for, what he embodied, you know what I mean? Because I went old school with my first headliner, so I'm going new school with this one now, where he's the young guy coming up again, just like Socrates. He makes his own beats. He's very talented, very, very. You can't take that away from the Ras Fresco. You already know, Ras. You know how I feel about your talent, your skills as an MC. So, I even did a promo, shot a promo with Ras Fresco. I remember one of my friends that has become a good friend of mine, Dayton. That's how I met him. I met him because I was following Ras Fresco, trying to get footage to promote for this fundraiser. That's when I ran into my friend, and we've been friends ever since. So not everything was bad in this experience, because that's one thing I really appreciated from that experience with Ras Fresco, is meeting my friend Dayton, who has become a really good friend of mine. So it's all good. It's all good. So anyways, oh, yeah, I hope do you guys hear the thunder out there? Oh my. Anyways, so in reaching out to Ras Fresco and getting footage so I could, use it to edit and promote the fundraiser. And then as part of preparation for the fundraiser, we have rehearsal. So a couple of days or a day before the actual event, I had rented out a rehearsal space, and so I had the people who were on the lineup card come. Ras wasn't able to make it because he had prior engagement, and I don't even think he told me. Just found out that he went out of town, and basically going out of town jeopardized him being the headliner for my event, for my fundraiser. I did not know this at that point. I just figured, oh, he's going out of town, he's gonna come back. But he evidently never made it back. And then it was just peculiar where that day of the fundraiser, again, I told you, we had rehearsals, so there was like certain artists who were on the lineup, two in particular, Raz and this other girl, I can't remember her name, I think she calls herself Chula or whatever her name is. She was a rapper from the east side of the city. So I had her on the bill too. So on the day of, I got word that Raz is not coming. And this is like, I'm talking hours leading up to the event. Like he's fully out of town, and he's not going to be able to make it, which was quite upsetting because that's not what we agreed to. We spoke about it and so on and so forth. He's supposed to headline this event, went as far as filming promos for it. So he pretty much went against his word, and whatever reason, I was put on the back burner without any explanation. And then to compound the situation, one of the other headliners said they got lost on the way to the venue for the event. Like, I'm not too familiar back then to how Uber was working. I don't know if it was Uber or a cab. The person claimed, this girl claimed, because I called them, like, where are you? She's like, I'm in another city. I got into the cab, and the cab brought me to a different, let's say, I think the address of the place the venue was on Dundas Street. So there's another Dundas Street in other parts, in other small towns around Toronto. So I guess, according to this, this is so asinine, like it's crazy. I don't even believe the person when they told me this. So this is why I was like, this is very on some conspiracy thing. You know what I mean? Like how you guys, both Raz and you, not showing up for my event last minute. So according to her, she got into her cab, told the cab the address, and the cab took her on the highway, unbeknownst to her. I don't know where she was sleeping. I mean, if I'm in a cab and I'm supposed to go somewhere that's maybe 20 minutes away, 20 minutes, first of all, when we get on the highway, I'm like, where are we going? You know what I mean? So anyways, this person ended up in another part of another city that's close, like an hour away, according to her. Which I don't believe. What do you mean you hopped in a cab and ended up in Hamilton instead of going to downtown Toronto? How? How, Sway? So anyways, it is what it is. Raz was the one that I was really upset with, you know, because we had this relationship and I spoke to him. And just to give you a background, I remember the first time I spoke to Raz was on the phone. And we spoke for so long. And I don't know if he had a cell phone then, because it was like, I don't know, 2013-ish or 14, I can't remember. You gotta look on the flyer. Well, you guys can see on the flyer when it was. So I remember the first time I spoke to Raz, connected with him. We spoke for like an hour and change. He was telling me about his dad, how his dad got deported, and somebody ratted on him. Coming from where I come from, you know, absent dad, that's another story. And you know, it's upsetting to hear it. And then, but I see this child is, you know, persevering despite it all. And you know, I took a liking to him because of this little story. And then, you know, didn't like the fact that some man ratted on his dad. So I'm like, yo, you already know, I got you, homie. You know what I mean? So I really felt like we connected. Straight up, Raz, like I felt like we connected, but the way you dealt with me and dealt with that situation just showed me that it was just business for you, and it is what it is. So anyways, the event went on, we did it despite it all, and I later on reached out to Raz and like, listen, what happened? And he tried to lie, which wasn't sitting well with me. I don't like it. It's one thing if you mess up, don't lie about it. Just be upfront and say, listen, man, I messed up. But he tried to lie, give me some excuse and so on and so forth. Because what I've come to find out is that he went to Harlem, New York City. But it's not like he had a show or anything. He just went to the Apollo just to hang out, I guess, to network. But like, bro, you fully agreed to do something. So for a couple of years, I really didn't speak to him, and you know what I mean, I was at odds with Raz Fresco. And you know, later on we spoke a couple of years later, you know, we're about to bury the hatchet and just keep it moving, you know. So now, again, go where you're welcome, where you're celebrated, not tolerated. So with these people, we're from, you know, to a lesser extent, Southeast, Chula, and Ras Fresco, like, I was just being tolerated. It wasn't like I was being celebrated with these guys. You would think, you know, how many stories that people like myself coming out of prison with the story that I have and so on and so forth. Like what? You know what I mean? Like, I am the guy you want to be, one of the guys you want to be talking about, one of the guys you want to be celebrating. Like I told you, I gave you a list of things that man survived. Like survived enough things, yo. Just for me to be sitting here and talking to you guys, I survived a lot. I endured a lot. But for whatever reason, again, not being celebrated, just being tolerated. So now it was time for me to host another event, which was the book launch. You know, I was able to get the book done. Salute to Khalifa Media, you know, the Morris publication. I was able to publish the book, and we're gonna have a fundraiser. I mean, a book launch. So again, I had the Moors, our Moroccan MCs, but learning from the last two times that I was reaching out to these people that really didn't care, I learned to make sure that whoever the headliner is for my book launch is going to be somebody that resonates with me for real. And getting familiar with YouTube, Twitter, and so on and so forth, I saw a video about this Montreal rapper. So I looked him up. His name was Billo the Kid, but you know, we don't like to use the word kid. Kid means child, you know, a baby goat. I call him Billo the God. So Billo the God, I reached out to him on Twitter, you know, because come to find out, his story is similar like mine. He got sentenced to life in prison and won his appeal. But it's just that he lives in a different city and is a good MC, like a really good MC from Montreal. You know what I mean? My Rwanda brother, you know what I mean? So I reached out to him on Twitter. I'm like, yo, bro, yo, let me tell you how this man not only agreed to headline my book launch, he came out with his crew, drove out here from Montreal. Like, I'm reaching out to people locally who all you gotta do is pay a bus pass, so hop in a cab. This guy is coming. The only thing I offered him was accommodations, like, because again, it's not like I have dough like that, you know what I mean? So I offered him accommodation. He came on his own dime and showed up, did his thing, headlined the event, and did his thing. And me and him have been like really good friends ever since. I've gone on tour with him, and like we've done so. Like, the man is solid. When meeting him, just taught me and reminding me, look, there's gonna be people out there that's gonna be right in front of you that won't support you. Look past them. Don't worry about them. You know what I mean? Go where you are celebrated, not just tolerated. And I celebrate Below the God, and Below the God celebrates me. So it's a win-win situation. It was a great event. You know what I mean? Here's some pictures from the event. And Below did his thing. And I appreciate you, brother. Like, I really do. As you can hear from the story, like, I reached out to various people. You are one of the few that just follow through on your word. And I appreciate that. So this is just a reminder, like, yo, don't go where you're just tolerated. Go where you're celebrated. Straight up. Or don't go anywhere. Just stay by yourself. Do you. Trust and lead by faith, that everything else will fall in place. You know what I mean? As much as the experience with Socrates, you know, losing money on that end, and then with Chula and Raj Fresco just pulling a no-show on me, like, bro, everything still worked out. The book got published, and it didn't stop nothing. You know what I mean? It really didn't. It just exposed these people's characters, some of these people's characters, whether it's for good or bad, you know what I mean? And in the case of Below the God, it was great to see this man's character shine through, you know, and it only makes sense because we both have similar paths in life. But anyways, that's my story in regards to go where you're celebrated, not just tolerated. All right? Thank you for joining me on another episode of Don't Quote Me on 27th Letter Podcast. Check out this next video right here. All right? Right there. Peace.